welcome back to my channel. My name is Liana. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Hydrating Foundation in 0.1. This is their new lightest shade. They recently expanded their shade range from 22 shades to 40 shades, which is a lot better. Previously they didn't go very deep or very light, and now their shade range is looking a lot more inclusive, which is wonderful. And one thing that I also noticed, which is very good in my opinion, is that both the lightest and darkest shades are neutral. And that's going to work for a lot more people. If it's not too cool and it's not too warm, then it's going to strike a good balance and work on a lot more skin tones. So this is $46 Canadian for 1 fluid ounce. So it's not the most expensive foundation ever, but it's still up there. This is a medium coverage, natural finish foundation for all skin types, including sensitive. It's an oil-free hydrating foundation that gives you flawless skin for up to 15 hours, although on their website it says it's now been proven for up to 24 hours. So what do you believe, you know? Plus it's tested to ensure that you look gorgeous in any light. It says you can achieve a medium to full buildable coverage with a natural matte finish. This foundation blurs the look of imperfections with light diffusing spheres. That always gets me. That's just really funny. And it stays put for up to 15 hours or 24 hours, depending on what you believe, of wear. No touch-ups needed. Lightweight and comfortable. It's exercise resistant, sweat resistant, transfer proof. That's a lot of pretty bold claims. And it works on all skin types. It's formulated without parabens and phthalates, and it's a cruelty-free and vegan product. It's free of oil, fragrance, talc, and sodium lauryl sulfate. I'm not sure why sodium lauryl sulfate would be in a foundation. That's usually something you find in body wash or shampoo. But anyway, Smashbox also consulted makeup artists around the world to ensure that their shade range works for all skin tones. They're also the only beauty brand with a lighting lab called Flashbox, where they test and perfect color consistency across all 40 shades in any light. So I did go ahead and grab a sample of 0.1, which is the lightest neutral shade. They have a few shades lighter than the previous lightest shade, which was, I believe, 1.0. So they have 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. They don't have a 0.4. Which is kind of strange. And much like the last foundation I reviewed last week, which was the Born This Way foundation, I tested this in the same amount of conditions. So I tested it both with a sponge and a brush. I tested it set and unset with both a sponge and a brush, and with primer set and unset with both the sponge and the brush. So that's about 8 different ways right there. So I'll pull you in closer and then we can start applying the foundation. So spoiler alert, I really like this foundation. I think it's a beautiful foundation. This is probably one of the favorite foundations I've tried. I was a little worried because when I was swatching it the other day, and then even when I put it on my skin, it looks a little saturated and perhaps a little yellow, but it blends out so nicely. I do think that this will probably end up being too neutral or too yellow on some people though, if you're really, really cool toned. Especially if you found the foundation last week, Born This Way in Cloud, too neutral or too yellow. This is more yellow, for sure. But it's a beautiful formula. Now they call it hydrating. I don't feel the sense that it's adding hydration back into my skin. However, it just sits so nicely on the skin, and it's definitely not making it dry in any way. Like it actually looks nicer on my skin than the Born This Way foundation did. It looks like I'm wearing nothing at all. Insert sexy Flanders here. Stupid sexy Flanders. I'm sorry, The Simpsons and I go way back. I make a reference to it almost daily. It's just the way I am. Yes, you can see how quickly that blends out and how nice it looks. I seriously, if I look all the way up close, I still can't see that I'm wearing anything. It's just that nice. Like, I'm honestly considering, after I go through a couple of complexion products I already own, I'm probably going to buy this. I really like it. I don't think it's at all full coverage. I really don't. You'd probably have to build it up a lot. But I'm not a full coverage person, so that really doesn't bother me. Now, if you're a full coverage person, that might bother you, but I like the fact that this looks really natural. I feel like I could wear this anywhere and just have it look really nice, not have to worry about it looking cakey, feeling heavy. Now, I tried it with two different brushes. Tried it with my usual Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, but I also tried it with this more flat top brush, which is actually from Amazon, and I'm not sure which brand it is. I actually prefer it with this brush, though. Now, the only way I don't like wearing this foundation is over primer. That's where I think that it loses some of its magic, so to speak. That's when it looks like I am wearing something. So it does tend to look a little more dry, a little more textured, and it gets worse throughout the day. They recommend, of course, pairing it with their own photo finish primer. Is that what it's called? But so many silicone primers feel exactly the same as that, so I wasn't too worried about getting a sample size of that or anything and trying it with that. Yeah, I think over primer, that's where it basically just ruins the finish. And definitely even the brush a bit does make it look a little bit more like there's product there, but not enough for me to be like, oh my god, it's ruined. I'm just here for the sponge side more. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom you in. This is a sponge side. You can see it's definitely not super matte or anything. It's natural looking. You can definitely mattify it with powder and it still won't look dry, which is a good thing. And this is the brush side. And of course, I always bring you in super close at the end of the day, so no worries. And that's how it's looking right now. So of course, I'm just going to do a few swatches for you, and then I'll come back around 8 or 9 hours later. At that point, I'm also going to do a transfer test, just because this does claim to be sweat-proof, transfer-proof. Most foundations don't claim that, but this one does, so I think it's important to test that out. So here's a few swatches, and I'll see you later. This is the Smashbox Studio Skin in 0.1. This is Too Faced Born This Way in Cloud. This is the Danessa Myricks Vision Cover Cream in N01. This will be up next week, my review on it. This is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation in Pale. And this is the Ordinary Serum Foundation in 1.0N. Something kind of interesting to note is that the Smashbox is considered a 1Y01 on the Sephora Color IQ, and Cloud is actually considered a 2Y01, and they're pretty much the exact same shade depth, so that's kind of funny to me. And Cloud is definitely more pink, so yeah, just something to note there. Okay, I just realized I took a still photo instead of a video. I'm an idiot. Okay, so it's like 8.5 hours later. My foundation looks the same. It still looks really good, so I'll pull you in closer so you can have a look. So, as you can see with this pimple here, the redness is still there. It didn't cover any redness. Not really. And I do still have some of my freckles showing at the temple area here on both sides. So it's definitely not a full coverage foundation, which again, I'm totally fine with. But this isn't emphasizing texture. It doesn't look dry. It doesn't look scaly. It's not grabbing anywhere. It's just sitting really, really nicely. And while I thought I was filming, I filmed a transfer test. I was rubbing my face all over with this friggin' tissue and nothing came off. Might be the tiniest bit there. But seriously, for me to come back on camera after that and for it to look the same, that's pretty impressive. So I actually do, in this instance, believe that it's transfer proof, or at the very least, very, very transfer resistant. So that's cool. So I'm going to insert a photo that I took with flash here because it says that it looks good in all lighting conditions. So, you know, there's a photo with flash, there's a photo without flash, just in natural lighting. And of course, here we are in sort of unnatural lighting. This is under like light bulbs and stuff. And all three conditions look great. So again, I think they're telling the truth. This is a fabulous foundation. You guys know I don't wear foundation every single day, but this is definitely one of the best foundations I've ever tried, if not maybe the best. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you've tried this, let me know how you feel about the formula because I am considering buying it. So I'd like to hear how you feel. I post Mondays and Fridays in the afternoon Eastern time. I'm trying out 4 p.m. for a while. If that goes well, I might stick with that. We'll see. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys.